It's funny how life can twist on something as small as a mug of coffee. One minute, you're standing on your porch, just hoping for a quiet morning. The next, you're front row for the greatest HOA meltdown in county history. Steam rises, coffee burns the tongue, and across the street, the mighty queen of the neighborhood crumples under a mountain of paperwork from the Justice Department. That's not just any neighbor, no, that's Patricia Patty Pringle, the self-crowned president of Whispering Oaks, and the universe just handed her a reality check in legalese. Never wanted to be the guy who crashed the local property values or turned the place into a lawyer's feeding frenzy. Honestly, the only dream was a little backyard peace, a dog who could do his business without triggering an inquisition. But that dream died on day one thanks to Patty. If the Marine Corps taught anything, it's this: you don't start a fight, but you damn sure finish it. Back up 8 weeks back when hope was still a thing and my credit score hadn't been dinged by HOA drama. Fresh out of 2 decades of service, knees wrecked, patience for bureaucracy gone. Settled down in Whispering Oaks for a simple life. It was the kind of neighborhood where nothing was supposed to happen except, of course, for people like Patty. Moving day came. No movers. Don't like strangers with my stuff. Atlas, my Rottweiler, rode shotgun, a blocky-headed, soulful-eyed beast if you didn't know him, a gentle medic if you did. A real service animal, not just a therapy dog trained to keep my head screwed on straight after years of high alert. Quiet as a tomb, the street was too quiet. Not even a bird. And then came the unmistakable whine of a golf cart. Out came Patty, clipboard flashing, floral blouse blazing every inch, the suburban general. Not a word of welcome, just a finger to a driveway, oil stain quoting HOA bylaws like scripture, her voice, the kind of high and mighty that makes you check your own shoes for mud. It only got better when Atlas jumped out. To her, he was a monster. No dogs over 40 pounds, Rottweilers are banned. Out came the threats: animal control, $500 a day fines, and the kind of stare-down usually reserved for a police lineup. Kept my cool, explained, the law promised to send the paperwork. She stormed off, and that's how the war began. After that, every curtain in the neighborhood started twitching. Atlas and I were the circus. That first evening, private security drops a violation on my door, HOA denying my service dog's rights in writing. They'd just served themselves up to a federal court and didn't even know it. The next morning, the real fun began. Patty and her camera crew, some guy named Harold, stood on the sidewalk as Atlas peed in his own yard. Unauthorized biological discharge, she screamed. Snap, 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 evidence for the crime of living. New fines every few hours for the grass for my supposed aggressive behavior for livestock. That's right, they called Atlas livestock. It was like fighting a pig in the mud. She was having the time of her life. That's when Big Tony's fortifications and fences entered the picture. Called up Tony, a human bulldozer with a handshake like a pipe wrench. You need a wall, he grumbled. You're in Patty Pringle's North Korea. I'll be there in an hour. And sure enough, Tony and his crew tore up the yard, laying out a privacy fence that'd make a prison jealous. Patty appeared golf cart howling, shrieking about community aesthetics and illegal structures. Tony just smiled and kept digging. She tried everything to bait a reaction. Cornered me with Atlas, called him a killer, then threw herself to the ground and started wailing about an attack. The cops showed up, sirens, neighbors, the whole circus. Patty howled, claiming she was mauled. Atlas just sat head-cocked, probably wondering when he was getting his next treat. Then, bless this generation, a teenager named Tyler had filmed the whole thing. Showed the officers his phone clear as day. Patty had thrown herself on the grass. False alarm, false claim, and for the first time the neighborhood saw a crack in her armor. But Patty just doubled down. Emergency board meetings, votes to foreclose on my house, a parade of threats and fines. She wore her neck brace like a crown and slammed her gavel like she was running Congress. That's when Saul entered my life, a real-deal civil rights attorney. Get it on tape, he told me. Let them hang themselves. So I did. Patty ripped up my formal request for reasonable accommodation right in front of everyone, calling me a terrorist. Saul nearly danced. That's it, he said. Now we call in the big guns. Federal black SUVs started showing up. DOJ agents walking door to door, badges on their belts, asking questions. Patty tried to evict them with her golf cart, but Agent Henderson just raised an eyebrow. "You want to go to federal prison today or just move your cart?" Patty retreated and the power dynamic flipped overnight. Neighbors realized the Queen had no clothes. Turns out I wasn't her only target. The DOJ dug up a whole spreadsheet of problem residents' notes on who might be easiest to bully, coded by ethnicity, by vulnerability. She went after everyone she thought couldn't fight back. They had enough evidence to rewrite the training manual for every HOA in America. In her deposition, Patty doubled down, bragged that HOA law trumped federal law. The board imploded. Insurance refused to pay. Board members quit. The association was broke. Every resident got hit with a $5,000 assessment. That's when the neighbors turned on Patty. The creditor meeting was wild. Neighbors howled, hands in the air, demanding Patty be sued personally. She tried to point the finger at me, but Jerry, the nervous former board member, stood up and told the truth. She ripped up his offer. She called him a terrorist. She did this. I played the recording for the whole room. The rage finally found its target. Patty lost her house. Couldn't sell it because the neighborhood was radioactive. Eventually, Big Tony the fence guy bought her place. Word is he's bringing in his 3 pit bulls and painting the door purple. The lesson power is a funny thing. It only works as long as people let you have it. Patty thought the rules made her untouchable, but all she did was make the whole neighborhood miserable. The second she slipped, they turned on her. It wasn't about a dog or a fence or a bylaw. It was about dignity, about fighting for what's right even when the world's stacked against you. Atlas and I were still here. The fence is up, the grass is a little wild, and nobody cares. Dave the accountant is HOA president. Now, first act, kill the breed ban. Second act, abolish the architectural review committee and start a monthly potluck. People wave again. The street feels like a community, not a prison camp. Justice didn't come from a law book. It came from 100 people saying enough. So here's the real question for anyone who's ever had to face down a little tyrant with a clipboard. When does protecting a community become persecuting your neighbors? When does order become oppression? If you fought your own battle, if you've dealt with an HOA like Patty, what did you do? Did you stand your ground or did you let it slide? Drop your story in the comments. Let's hear how you'd handle it where you draw the line. Because at the end of the day, karma always shows up. And sometimes it arrives in a black government SUV right when you need it most.